Alright guys, let's talk about RUNE or Thorchain on the channel once again. Now I need to do an update video today because basically Thorchain is really quite down today. It's about 7.4% down, but there was some news today about, the 500,000 ETH was mainly, changed in the Bitcoin. According to Arkham Intelligence, the Lazarus group, they did this all through Thorchain. So this is the reason why we're seeing Thorchain go down. Now, there is nothing really fundamentally wrong with Thorchain except it may be bankrupt. Now, this is the biggest risk, probably, in the top 100 or 200 coins, wherever it has dropped down, actually. We can take a look. It is number 164. Yeah, it has dropped quite significantly, guys. Used to be in the top 100. Now, this is a big risk because, yeah, Thorchain could be bankrupt. Now, I am still trying to acquire Thorchain as much as I can, and I think Thorchain is not going to really dip, basically below $1.20 here for very long. Now, it did dip down today. The low was $1.10, so if you grabbed it at $1.10, that's pretty good because you can see on 18th February it made it down here, and only a couple of other days really, or a few days here, was it so low. Now, I do expect that it will hang on to this $1.20. Now that the North Koreans have pretty much laundered all the money, it looks like they're probably done using Thorchain. Now, I do believe Thorchain will go up, So, let's look at this on a 4-hour time frame. So, yeah, I think basically since you had that news come out, you're starting to see these green candles. Keep in mind this 4-hour chart. So, we have retested this line as support at the moment. And yeah, let's see how far this can take us. Now, let's take a look at the RSI real quick. And yeah, let's take a look here. On the 4-hour, actually looks pretty good, guys. Slightly pointed up here on the RSI, and it was just coming out of the oversold territory here on the Stoke. Let's take a look at the 1-hour. A little bit overbought here on the Stoke. It is pointed to the upside here on the RSI, kind of right in the middle, so that is okay. 15-minute time frame almost was oversold, but it is starting to turn up. Now the RSI is turning up here and still in neutral territory. So these lower time frames mostly look good, I would say. Now let's go to a little bit higher time frames. The daily, a little bit pointed down here on the RSI. Now it is slightly pointed up on the Stoke, so that is okay. It's not too bad. Nothing overheated. That is good. Now 1 week time frame, extremely oversold here on the Stoke. Now it is kind of flirting with being oversold here on the RSI. So yeah, let's see what happens. But it is slightly pointed down too, so it may dip into the oversold territory, and just have to wait. Now the month time frame, let's take a look. Very oversold here, and remember this is quite slow. I do think in April you're going to see this start to tick up, and yeah, you do have a slight downward momentum here, basically on the RSI. But basically it's in the middle. That's not too bad. So monthly time frame, in my opinion, it looks good. Week, it looks very good too. Now daily, also good. A little bit pointed down here, but that's okay, guys. It's in neutral territory. 4-hour looks fine. So these higher time frames actually look pretty good. Now on the 1-hour time frame, like I said, a little bit overbought here, and 15-minute time frame looks good. So most of these time frames, guys, for RUNE look good. So I think RUNE is probably now about to pump, in my opinion. I think that the bad news is pretty much finished with this North Korean, hack and laundering of money. So that is good in my opinion. Now, RUNE, let's take a look at the max supply. It is 500 million, guys. Keep that in mind. 351 million is circulating. Now, the all-time high for RUNE was almost at $21, so you're still getting about a 94% discount at the moment, guys, where it sits. So, yeah, I mean, you can't beat that. $1.23, you know, it is a gamble, like I said, but, you know, I hope to pick up a little bit more of this before it runs up past about $2. That's probably when I'll stop accumulating it. And, yeah, as long as it stays down here, guys, I'm accumulating. Now, taking a look at Bitcoin, guys, kind of an amazing candle. You know, it's just been wild these last like few days, week really. We have, you know, dipped outside this box, and we've gone back inside the box, and now we're dipping again outside the box. Maybe we're going to come back into the box. You know, this box is nothing scientific. There's, you know, I just wanted to show you the range that it's basically been trading since about 19th November until about, what, the 25th of February when it dipped out. Now, let's see if it can hold on to at least the $87,000, let's say $150. You know, well, it is support right now. It was resistance a little bit earlier, but that would be, you know, a start. I would like to get back into this box at a minimum, but that's probably not going to happen today. Now, there is another resistance at 89,635. So we are what, about almost $1,000 below that, maybe $900 or so, 850. Probably not going to get there tonight unless we get a little bit more news or something. We don't have that long before the candle closes on the daily time frame, but I do think we will keep $87,150 as a support though. Now you can see we did lose it for a short time, for a few days basically, and yeah, let's see what happens with Bitcoin. Now, Ethereum, let me expand this a little bit. You can see, oof, Ethereum has lost the legendary trend line that was basically holding it up, guys. If I go back on this chart, let me put this on a weekly time frame. Maybe it'll be a little bit easier and quicker to show you. You can see that it's been holding up the Ethereum price since basically it dipped down to its lowest point, you know, on that 13th of June 2022 week. Now, it has been trending up since then, and right now it looks like it is above this trend line. But if we go to the daily time frame at the moment, well, okay, it is actually, it just got a little bit of a bounce here. So yeah, it is really flirting with this legendary trend line. If you lose it tonight, it's not a good sign. Now, we did lose it actually yesterday, but we need to get back above it. And you know, if it doesn't, if it fails, if we get rejected here, that will be very bad, in my opinion. So the next support, we probably should map that out. But let's take a look real quick, guys. Now, below here, I would say it's probably about right here, guys. Let's put this on in green here. I think if we just kind of zoom out, you can see there's a lot of touch points here. So yeah, it's probably going to be about 2150, let's say. That would be your next support. And then, you know, below that, guys, it's probably going to be about right here at about 2045. That would probably be your next support here. You can see a lot of touch points and things. So yeah, that's probably the next two supports holding up the price if we break through this legendary trend line. Now, taking a look at the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, guys, hanging on by a bare thread to 1.08 trillion. We do need to get back up here where we were the other day, between 1.19 and 1.25 trillion. We were actually there for quite some time. You can see just kind of consolidating before all of this, you know, all of these problems with tariffs and things, you know, in North Korea and so on. Now, taking a look at the dominance, guys, this, again, not good. If I zoom out, you'll see, you know, basically if we can just keep below 62.17, that's great. But of course, we need to start going lower. We need to start trending down. The unfortunate thing is that we were trending up here on the dominance, and then it broke down, and then it kind of reclaimed here and made another higher low, and then again we lost it, and now we find ourselves back up here. So it's still keeping this trend and faking us out at the same time. Now, taking a look at the CME futures, guys, I just want to show you that there's still this gap that remains down here. It was not filled. We did have a fairly large gap yesterday that was, all through here. It was about $8,000 or $9,000 or something like this. It has been filled, but I just want you to be aware there's like a $600 or $700 gap down here, and we'll see if it gets filled. Maybe it doesn't get filled until the bear market. That's what I'm hoping. Maybe it never gets filled. There are some gaps that were never filled, but they, more often than not do get filled. So I'm a little bit surprised we just didn't continue down to fill this gap completely, yesterday. Now, let's take a look at the US dollar index, guys. Now, you can see it is breaking down. This is actually good for Bitcoin. We do need the dollar to go down. So it is starting to lose some levels here. And yeah, a weaker dollar is better for Bitcoin. So let's, if I zoom out here, put this on a weekly chart. Actually, let's put this on a monthly chart. It's even better, even easier to see. You can see that, we're at levels that basically is just very high. I mean, this is late 90s, early 2000s. And yeah, I mean, we got up there a couple of years ago. A few years ago in 2022, almost to pretty much all-time highs, guys. And this is still a very elevated level here. So I would like to see the dollar index start crashing below about, 101. And yeah, I think we'll see Bitcoin start to really pump if we can get down to those levels. Now, liquidation heat map. It's starting to come down a little bit. Only 835 million have been wrecked in 24 hours. Bitcoin quarterly returns, terrible. Ethereum, absolutely terrible. Now, the month is a little bit negative for March at the moment. So let's see what happens. February was one of the worst, second worst February we ever had. But 2014 was kind of a Wild West time, so you can't really count that, I would say. I wouldn't even really count anything before like 2017, Now, taking a look at the fear and greed, it's still at 15. Today, I looked at this earlier, but yesterday we did have a 16, so that is interesting to see. We just went down 1 point here. Now, altcoin season index, let me refresh this. Okay, it is starting to come up. That is good to see, actually. So we do have a 24 here, but this is extremely low. As you can see, we're in Bitcoin season, and not good for altcoin holders like you and me. Now, taking a look at the bull market peak indicators, it's still 0 from 30 have been hit now. This, days of net flow, outflows actually, it has to be 10 or more. That reset, I think, on Friday. So yeah, now taking a look at crypto bubbles in the last, that's the hour actually. It looks pretty good. Now the day, still pretty much in the red. We do have a few pumpers here and there, but yeah, mostly it's in the red. Now, if you want to stake your coins, guys, go to Coinondo here. I was looking for XRP earlier. You can type in RUNE though, and I stake mine actually in Gate. That is not financial advice. You can stake it wherever you want. Be careful wherever you stake it though. Wow, Bybit actually has a 22.59 at the moment and is flexible. So check that out. Do your homework. Don't get locked up. When you want to sell. So yeah, I'm looking for 30 days maximum or flexible, in my opinion. So anyways, guys, if you like this video, like, subscribe, activate the bell, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one.